In this video, we're going to take a look at how an administrator can use the app catalog in SharePoint 2013 to push an app out to a large number of sites, much in a similar fashion to how we used feature stapling to be able to add a specific feature to a type of template in SharePoint. So the first thing I need to do is get an app that I want to publish out to a number of sites, and I happen to be in Visual Studio and I have a time billing app that I want to ultimately add to all of our project sites. So I'm going to right click it and go ahead and publish, and this is going to generate a .app file for me. So if I click finish here, you can see there's my .app file, and that's ultimately what I'm going to upload into the app catalog. So let me pull up my app catalog, and in order to upload this, I want to go to apps for SharePoint. Along the side here, you can see that is basically my library where I can go add apps and make them available to the organization. So it's a very simple process here. I can just drag and drop my app file into this library, and as soon as this upload is complete, it then becomes available. Users that are site owners can go out and find this when they go to add an app, and they'd be able to add it to their site. That's a very manual process. What I want to do is I want to push this out to all of a specific type of site maybe. In order to do that, I need to do a very interesting thing here. I'm actually going to install the app into the app catalog. So what I've done so far is just upload the app. I actually now need to install it. Now, it's just like installing an app in any other site. Just because this is the app catalog, it really functions similarly. So I'm going to go over here to Site Content and add an app. And then I'm going to select apps from your organization. And there you can see the time and billing app that we've just added. This is what a normal user would see on their team site, perhaps, if they were to go and try to add an app from the organization. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this. It's going to ask me to trust the application, which ultimately I will do. And in this case, this app happens to be an auto-hosted app, and so it's actually going to go out and install the app into Azure. So it's in the process of creating an Azure website and maybe even a SQL Azure database that we'd use for storage of the app. So this will take just a moment to provision because of the fact that it's actually going out and installing things in Azure. So we'll wait for this to complete. So now that the time and billing app has been added, you can see that it's showing up here. And what's interesting is I'm going to have an additional context menu item for this that I wouldn't have on a normal site. So the app catalog is kind of a special type of site in that case. When I click on the little ellipse, you can see I have a deployment option. Again, I wouldn't have this in a normal site, and this is going to give me the ability to push this app out to specific site collections, any sites at a specific managed path, or a specific type of template. And I'm ultimately going to select project sites, but I first want to go over to a project site just to show you that this isn't smoke and mirrors. So here's my project site. And if I go to all site content, you can see that I ultimately just have some different lists and libraries, and I have a little branding app here that's been added to this site. But really, I don't have anything else, and I certainly don't have that time and billing app. Well, what I want to do is go ahead and push this out to all of my project sites. So I'm going to go over here, and again, using that context menu, I'm going to click on the deployment option for time and billing. And what you'll see is I have the ability of selecting specific site collections that I deploy this to. I can deploy to specific managed paths, or I can deploy to a specific site template or site templates if I want. And in this case, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and I want to target all project sites. So I'm going to go ahead and select project site, and I'm going to click OK. Now what this is going to do, it's first going to say, do you trust this for all these sites? I'm going to say trust, and it's going to go out and install this application for all of our sites that matched that criteria. So any of the criteria that I specified in that deployment form would actually be deployed to. That includes existing sites or any new sites that get added after the fact. So any new project sites after I do that would actually get that site provisioned as well. So again, you can see our app here, and now if I go over to my project site and I do a refresh, what we see is the time and billing app has been added to this project site. Another interesting thing here is because this was pushed out by an administrator, even though I'm a site owner of this project site, if I click on the little ellipse here, I do not have the ability to remove this app. So again, it's a really nice way from a governance standpoint that we can push these apps out and actually make sure that they go out to all the sites that they want. The other thing that I can do is I can actually retract these all at once, and that's an interesting thing because it's not something that I could easily do with feature stapling. Once I activated a feature using feature stapling, if I removed the feature staple, it still kept that feature activated. There was nothing I would have to write script to go and remove those. But if I wanted to, I could go and change the deployment rules for time and billing, and I could actually remove this from the project site. So again, I'll go in here and show you how I could do something like that. While this is loading, I will point out another interesting thing is that when I deploy in this fashion, all of the sites that get the app installed will actually go back and point to a single app web, right? So the app web would actually be the app web of the app catalog here that they'd be pointing to. So here I'll go ahead and select the project site. I'll remove it, say OK. And by doing so, this should go now and remove this from all of the project sites. So if I go back to my project site here, and I'll do just a quick refresh. There you can see the app has been removed. So again, this is how we can do some interesting things. I almost call this app stapling because it gives us the ability to push these apps out to a number of different sites based on criteria.